Hi, this is Bob Weiss. I'm the host of Shaking Your World. Cheers.
Welcome home. Yet another segment at Shakers. We are here to shake your world a little bit, and a good friend of the house, Jim's here to talk about baseball, Brewers, Milwaukee, and all sorts of fun stuff.
Whatever's in your mind,
Whatever we want to get into,
absolutely.
Jim.
Cheers, thanks.
Well, cheers to be here.
I'll have my first Sprecher, and I'll have a little bit of bourbon with you.
That beer, of course, that you are enjoying so much is our Ghost Ale, which is made by you, and we are darn glad of that as well. What an extraordinary product you have.
Thank you. We appreciate it. We've been around for 35 years this year.
Yeah.
How long have you had your place?
34 years.
34.
Well.
All right, so we're a year before you. All right.
Indeed.
One of our first customers, I'm assuming. And since then, right?
Absolutely. Wouldn't be Shakers without Sprecher products.
34 years.
I know, it seems just like the other day, doesn't it?
It does. It seems like 30 years only.
Sure. So, you've been involved in all sorts of components of the beer business for a long period of time, right?
I have.
You had a long stay at Miller Coors. Can I talk about that? Well, of course I can. It's my program, right?
It's your program, Bob. You can ask whatever you want.
And then you had just a thing with the Brewers themselves, I think, at one point. You used to be a swimmer at Michigan State, right?
Yes. Who's been doing all the...
Still live in Fox Point, maybe, I think?
Gosh,
Do
yeah.
you? Okay,
Do you have the vice president in town and the Secret Service following me around to get all that info? Or?
Not today.
Not
They're
today,
busy.
but it was
They're busy today.
Right,
so
previous.
Yeah. Well,
last week. Yes.
However, these things come
You
together.
live in Fox Point. 4 kids, wife, first wife still.
Congratulations! I also have 4 kids with 1 wife, but she's gone.
Oh,
so
sorry. How old are your kids?
no, I'm kind of glad she's gone. Thank you. I mean, she's dead. That would be a whole different thing. We'd be
Gotcha.
anyway. 28, 27, 19, and 17. How
Tell
about
me
yours?
it gets easier.
You want me to lie to you? We just began this.
We're friends, so don't lie to me.
Well, how could I?
I have 16, 13, 10, no, 11 and 10. Some birthdays in there.
Every age is unique, and they're different, and they're wonderful and challenging. I mean, the most challenging thing on this rock is raising kids, in my mind. Yeah.
Last Thursday, my daughter lost the car keys out in Waukesha. Couldn't find them. I told her to keep looking.
It just, things are just things
It
after all,
happens.
right?
Yeah,
So what happens to all
But
of
yes,
us?
I've had, I'm a lifelong Milwaukeean. Was involved with Miller Coors for about 15 years.
Wow.
Great place, great Milwaukee place, right? Just decided there was an opportunity that came along, and Sprecher was a great fit for me. Shorter commute as well for me from Fox Point. So we've had a good run with it. Obviously, it's been a little challenging. The blueprint for coming in, joining a new company, and an acquisition, and then having COVID hit, there isn't one. I don't know if you know that, but there isn't a blueprint for that. So.
Oddly enough, I look at it, it's kind of just like a big COVID-cation. That's the only way you can look at that.
Well,
So as before you got running, here's the
Is that how you looked at it? Yeah,
Why not? Why
that's
not?
why you look young.
Sure.
We did not.
Keep
but,
looking.
Yeah. But yeah, it's been fun. It's been challenging. It's been gut-wrenching at times, to be honest with you. So, but mostly fun. And we appreciate you with your 34 years of dedication to us. And I know I've been in here with friends and family along the way a number of times. So.
Again, thank you. Now, Milwaukee has seen a lot of changes the time that you've been here. What do you think about it? What's the future like?
The future, this was supposed to be the summer of Milwaukee, right? It was like, oh my gosh, the Bucks were going to win the NBA championship, and then we're going to go roll right into Summerfest, and then we're going to go roll right into the DNC, and we're going to roll right into watching the Olympics because we needed a time off, but we could still do something. We're going to go right to the Ryder Cup, and I know a lot of that stuff's been altered a little bit, but I think this has put Milwaukee on the map, and I think the future is phenomenally bright. We're getting a new convention center downtown. That's going to bring in a lot of business for people once we get up and running and going. And I mean, I love the place. Again, being a lifelong Milwaukee, I've left, went to school outstate, came back, lived in Kansas City for a while, came back, lived in Chicago, came back. So there's something about this place that people keep coming back to. And there's great mainstays like you and your restaurant and bar here. I think that's why. It is why, and I think we've been kind of this undiscovered gem, and now we're saying let's get discovered a little. Let's put ourselves on the map. So thanks for what you do.
I can't agree with you more, and I think that people need to experience Milwaukee to really appreciate how wonderful it is. And I've had the great opportunity to travel around the country, to work around the country and beyond. And this is really a unique place with really unique people, and that's what makes the difference to me.
Totally.
And we've had a great run here for 30-some years of just phenomenal customers because I've got phenomenal staff, and that makes all the difference. And I wouldn't get that other places.
Yeah.
So Milwaukee is a really cool place, and I think the future is incredibly bright for us as well. Obviously, we're going through these hiccups nationally, but this at some point will work itself out, and we'll get back to doing what Milwaukeeans do. So,
well, the Bucks are going to win the NBA championship next year and this year.
As
get
soon
it all
as
worked out.
they get to play again.
We'll do it here, right? We'll do it here next year.
Yep.
And it'll be even more special, I think, for everybody. And hopefully your walls are packed to pack with people here. I know it will be. So. But yeah, fun stuff. The Great Milwaukee Summer is a little different this year, but
it is. Introspection is not a bad thing, though, right? If nothing else, it makes us think about the cool things about Milwaukee and what to do once we're open again, right?
Yes, absolutely. So. And discover things you haven't before, right? There's places I've now gone with our family, like, let's go to this park or that park or whatever the case may be, and you're like, I've never been here, and it's 45 minutes from my house. Why haven't we gone and hiked this place before, right? So there's a lot of that that's going on for people. And the other thing, there's a lot of backyard barbecues. I know that doesn't help your business necessarily as much. Hopefully it comes through. But I mean, I couldn't even find marshmallows at the store last night because we wanted to roast marshmallows and have s'mores. But you can just tell what people are buying and what they're doing.
Yep. So. We got an interesting little thing with Shakers, and a huge amount of our clientele has been and is the Chicago marketplace. So the last 3 weeks that we've legally been open, we are overwhelmed with Chicagoans. So, and we had a Father's Day dinner as well that was oversold. Supposed to be on the rooftop, but obviously Mother Nature had other plans, so we came down here. But we were just jammed for the entire night, and things are just rosy. So
people from Chicago are coming up here.
Any given day for the last 30-odd years, over half our clientele has been for the Chicago marketplace and beyond. We have a huge reach. And part of that is because my line of sauces was sold internationally before my divorce, obviously. And I used to cook all over the country and beyond, so that, we're constantly playing the brand up that way, and that's just been dynamite for us. The tours, of course, I'm not sure if you've taken the ghost tours or not. One fine day we'll get you in for that. But we do over 10,000 ghost tours alone per year, plus our historic tours, and that's primarily populated by people from Chicago. So it's a real.
Have you ever been on what's that show, the haunted show on like Discovery or
We
whatever?
are on Discovery and A&E. We are episode number 3 on Netflix right now on Dark Tourist. We have been on History Channel, Sci-Fi Channel. We've been everywhere. BBC had a beautiful thing on us last year. So
we're watching that one. I haven't seen it.
We get around a little bit. Yeah. Yeah. So how are things politically in Milwaukee?
Divided. I think it's divided. It's like we are a divided country, unfortunately, and in the most divided state.
Yeah.
And you want things to go well, and I think that's okay. Everyone's got a right to have what their opinion is, but I also think we need to kind of figure out a way to gel a little bit better, right? Overall as a country, and when a mask can become a political statement for either side of the aisle, it's interesting. But I think we're finding our way, and I think it'll be an interesting fall, and things are heating up, and we're at the epicenter of it. I just saw a huge buy, I think a media buy by Biden, right, here in Wisconsin, and certainly we'll be at the epicenter of it, and it'll be an interesting and fun fall. And then obviously with the DNC here still going on here, it'll get real interesting.
Sure, one day of it, but
yeah. We're taking an RV trip and getting out. So
good
getting
for you.
The hell out.
Congratulations. Unfortunately, a lot of people had a significant stake in the DNC, whether it's the hoteliers, developers, whomever else, just the bars that opened up in that zone, and now they're just kind of SOL. So,
a lot of them, like you, are people I know, very good friends, and I know people that put a lot of effort and energy into getting their places up into a spot where they could accommodate more people and do other things, and all of a sudden that just dries up, and you feel for them. And I mean, you can only carry out from so many places in one night or 1 week, and we've all tried to do our part, and hopefully that's at least kept people floating a little bit. And now, as you said, for the last 3 weeks, things are open up, and hopefully everybody gets down to Shakers and other places too, right? Just to keep the area vibrant. I would guess the more people you have coming around, the better it is for your entire business, right, Bob?
Oh, absolutely, Jim. There's no question. And one of the things when I came back from Chicago is I wanted to get everybody in the area involved, because the more density you have, the better for everybody. No matter, and the more diverse products, the better too, right? But there is kind of an insular thing about Milwaukee bar and restaurant owners. They just want to think that that's my customer, stay away from him. We don't want to share him, which is an odd little myopic viewpoint here. Milwaukee's kind of like that to some degree, but there are so many cool things. So 2 Fridays ago, we were one of 15% of the bars that was open in Milwaukee proper. I think it's like 23 or 25% last weekend, and I can't wait till more open up. I'm a little shocked that some people don't want to open up till September or October, and that's their right and good for them. But you don't have to be as much of a zealot about no one should open up at that point, because...
Do you think it's people aren't opening because economically it's not the right fit, or is it health, or is it a combination of a lot of things?
I can assure you that it is not economically, because our numbers are every bit as much as they were before the COVID-cation began. We've had musicians that refuse to play now, even our house band of many years, because they don't want to cross those lines. You ask, well, which line? And they say, well, either the virus line, we don't want to be one of those people responsible for spreading it. Okay. And the second is that we don't want to cross the BLM. And I'm thinking, you play primarily music that was composed or inked by black people, that was made phenomenal by black people. You've got black people in your band. So I'm not really sure I'm understanding which part of this that you're offended by and don't want to offend other people, because you're providing a livelihood for the people in your band and for the entire concept. It's got to move forward. You can't just be insular and stay in your little hovel and say, we can't do anything, because that's an insult by itself to all these great musicians, composers, and performers. So we have no problem finding people from Chicago to play here, but the locals have just been remiss. Even the jazz club across the street has said the same thing to me. So people just don't want to cross those lines.
Well, it's too bad. It's too bad here. Music is music, right? It doesn't hopefully know a color or a. It's you're hearing it, not seeing
it's a cornerstone of our civilization, our culture, our society, of everything, right?
Live music is such an important part of it, with all the festivals and the
Milwaukee,
bands that have
city
come
of festivals.
through here, right? How many bands have played at Summerfest? My goodness. Everyone that you can think of has played there. Did you go to the Rolling Stones show when I was here?
I did.
Yeah, we did too.
I've catered a lot of those things backstage. So and here afterwards still, 8 or 9 in the morning.
Perfect.
I kind of suspect those days are just done, though.
I think so. Yeah, you talk to a lot of people who run a lot of those venues, and it's a reset, and even things like going to a game, and some of those little things that even at the Fiserv Forum, where you get the experience where the kids can maybe slap the hands of the players if they get through. I don't think that's going to happen anymore either. What a different world it will be, but that's all right. You make changes, and you know what? They'll be fine. We'll find something else cool to do. Like, come here.
Well, not just here, but you're talking about other things. Your good friend Joel Brennan was the president of Discovery World, right? And what a phenomenal facility that is. When my kids were younger, we were there all the time. I love that site.
Yeah, and I'm on the board of directors of Discovery World, so thanks for the plug. But I know we've, Joel and now Brian, who's taken over, they've done a phenomenal job. Obviously, Brian jumped in, and here we are, we're closed, and all the other things that have gone on. So again, no blueprint for him either. But we've been trying to keep it going there, and it is such a great place. My kids have done the camps there, and so many people think it's a museum, and it's actually a place for learning, and those camps, and the building a skateboard, or making a guitar, or taking photography, or making your own fishing pole. You can do whatever the hell you want there, and it's awesome.
Even the Dennis Sullivan, the association with that's wonderful. So you don't get that other places. You just don't get that.
It's Milwaukee, right?
It is. So, we've got a phenomenal ballet. We've got a symphony orchestra. We've got a Pops. We've got all sorts. And Doc Severinsen's doing the Pops. How cool is that, for God's sakes, And then the sporting events, we've got so much more than other cities do, especially major cities that are just down the road from us, don't have what we have.
Where your clientele is.
Where my clientele, that's why they're coming here.
That's right. Easier to get around in. Well, you have Major League Baseball, you have NBA, it can get up to Green Bay, and you got things like the Golf and Ryder Cup. Who else has hosted, what state has hosted a Ryder Cup, U.S. Open, and a PGA Championship? I don't know that fact, but I'm sure not many.
Not many. Right? Yep. So, at Sprecher, you've got these marvelous beers, really extraordinary beers. But you've really got dynamic sodas as well.
Yeah. Thanks for saying that. I mean, majority of our business is just like surprising for me that most of your, or a lot of your customers are from Chicago. The majority of our business is actually our sodas. And our root beer is, 32 states we sell it in.
Wow.
Which is, people don't know that. I mean, and actually it comes in a can too. Did you know that?
I did not.
Yeah, see?
I'm
pushing that one hard. Because
so 12-ounce
it's
cans,
summer,
16
12-ounce cans, yeah. And then we have some maple root beer that comes in a 16-ounce can. I mean, you're not going to sit on a patio and drink a 16-ounce, or your boat and drink a 16-ounce bottle, right? When's the last time you had a bottle of anything in your car?
No.
Glass, right? And I watched my kid the other night smash one of those bottles on my driveway. I said, we got to get you a can here, P-Man. We got to get you a can. So, yeah, we got cans. We got some new stuff coming out, too. And not to be over, we have a zero sugar root beer and a zero sugar orange soda and an energy root beer that are coming out next week.
That Orange Dream is now a
Zero sugar.
Really?
Yeah.
Zero sugar.
0 calories, 0 sugar, no sodium.
How do you do that? Sounds like magic.
I don't do any of it.
Witchcraft is going on somehow. That's pretty cool.
Well, yeah, we tapped into some of the spirits here, and we found it. No. Craig, our brewmaster, who's one of the best, actually, brewmasters in the world. I'm sure you've probably met Craig. Yep. It's all natural sweeteners too: monk fruit, erythritol, and stevia. So all natural, staying with everything we do, all natural ingredients, and nothing artificial about it. And we're actually running it right now on the line as I'm sitting here talking with you. Again, not me. I'm not. Our folks are.
It's good to delegate, by the way. So. Excellent.
But yeah, our root beer, cream soda, orange dream, all big flavors, and then our cherry cola and cherry and grape. I mean, we just have all these flavors.
You had a ginger beer several years ago, probably before your term there, but it was magnificent. It was
Still
like being
is,
back
Bob.
in Jamaica.
We
really?
still have it.
Same one?
People swear by it. Same one. Yes. And
it's
again, it's
dynamic.
one that you don't know that it exists because we have a lot of things, and how do you get it all out there? But yeah, it's the process we make it is just a little bit different. And we, like you're artisan in what you do. We caramelize the sugar and the Wisconsin honey that we use in there.
Well, don't give it away. 3 people may be watching this at some point. So.
Have another drink.
Speaking of bourbon, you do use
Yes.
bourbon barrels for some of your products
do.
as well. Those incredibly tasty products. You want to talk about those for a minute?
Absolutely. Those take a longer time to age, 1, 2, 3 years in the bourbon barrels, depending on what the product is. So the Commando and the Czar Brew that we have. Commando, have you had the Commando?
You have it on tap.
You have it on tap. So, but have you had it, is my question.
I have, and I enjoy
you
it
have
quite a
it
bit,
on
which
tap.
is why
That's
it's
good.
on tap, yes.
But yeah, so we have a whole cool room where we actually have 300 barrels that we actually let them age to perfection. You come through, you can see them on our tour if you ever want to stop by. We're open for tours. Everybody can come by. Beer garden's open. But you see them right in there, and you kind of see some of it, the sweating out or the seeping out of it and how it's made. It's not just, it takes a hell of a long time to get that.
So is that the
done.
angel share that is coming through the barrels as well?
It is, yes. It's a little extra seeping out of there. But it's, those are bigger beers. Those are 11, 12, 13, 14% ABV. Which,
No revenues watch this, so we're not concerned
no.
about the DOR. It's all good.
So good. No, sorry, Joel.
Which bourbon barrels do you use?
You know what? We actually have gotten most of our barrels from Kentucky. So we work with some different folks down in Kentucky. So we want to go right to the source where a lot of the, the bourbon trail with a lot of them. So it's not any one brand in particular. We work with, 3, 4 different sources down there that get them. And, sometimes we even have extra ones as we get them up here. And after they're used, we even sell them. And people like to buy them as a stool or a table or something for their rec room. And we have them actually, some of the used ones right in our beer garden. You can
Very
rest
nice.
your bourbon barrel aged beer right on a used bourbon barrel.
Do you play like Deliverance in the background or something?
Yeah, if you want, we can.
Sure. Well, there's a
we
thought.
take requests.
Why
as
not?
long as you don't sing.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Well. Cool.
So we are always coming up with new stuff. We have have you had the new refresh button?
I have not had the refresh button.
Aha, we got one that he hasn't had yet. It is an IPA, an East Coast juicy hazy IPA, lower ABV. Oddly enough, we named it in February before we even knew the COVID was it Covocation?
Covocation, yeah.
Was coming, and people, now it's coming out as people are opening, and you're like, oh my God, that's a perfect name for it. And we studied the hell out of that one to make sure. No, we actually just thought it was more of a testament to the new people coming in to run what Randy already had developed and taking it to another level. And
Sure.
different styles of beer, and sometimes it'd be better be lucky than good. So, but we have to get some for you.
Oh, Jim, I made a history of falling forward well, so that's that's worked very well for me.
If you don't take a risk, you're not going anywhere.
There you go. So you mentioned Randy.
Yeah.
Back in California
He
now?
is. He is in California.
Good for him.
He is great for him. I mean, Randy, 1985, down here, right? 3rd Ward. Started the brewery. You can still see the
smokestack.
Smokestack right on there. I know you have the tap handle.
3 blocks away.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
You see it when you come over the bridge, and it's still there, so which is awesome. But I think, unfortunately, the brewery started falling into the river. Bob,
Right.
That's not a good look for a brewery if you fall into the river. I'm not sure if you know that or not, but so we moved up to Glendale. They had to move fast. Not me. I did nothing again, but they had to move fast to find a place, and they did. And I think it's an old elevator factory that was converted into the brewery, and it's done wonders for us since. And we're continuing to improve on how we can get different things.
It's kind of an odd thing, is because the elevator factory, it's like essentially it's like one floor though.
It
is.
Like, it's weird, right? You'd think that
got to test them out first.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say the elevator doesn't go all the way to the top.
Ah, well. Yeah.
But no, it's done very well for us, and we have plenty of space to expand if we need to. But we're going to continue to focus on what we're doing here. Our number one thing is to focus on our core community, getting a little. We love the people that have, like you and others, that have carried our products for a year. Our fine root beer and our beers that we have, our Abbey Triple, and we have Pineapple Express. Have you had that one?
I have.
Okay, I'm going to just the refresh button might be the only
Just
one
the
you have.
refresh
Is that
button.
the only one you haven't had?
To my knowledge, but
Yeah.
how would I know, right? Yeah. And you've got all these.
How would I know,
How
maybe?
would you know? We've got these remarkable. There's a term for this in the market. You think I would know this as well, but any number of carbonated beverages that are other than what you typically would find at a brewery, more of a distillery type of a product.
Yes.
Yes.
What you're referencing?
Well, I'm not sure if we're going to talk about these products or not, but you've got other things that are non-beer like that in the marketplace as well.
Oh.
Not beer, not sodas that are.
Yeah. We have the hard seltzers that are out there, right? We have raspberry zipper, and we have an old-fashioned hard seltzer, which is one of the only ones out there that perfectly for the Wisconsin folks.
Absolutely, but let's go back to that raspberry zipper.
Yes, raspberry zipper.
Zipper.
Again, zipper. You like saying zipper?
Who doesn't?
It's raspberries from Wisconsin, just like our Door County cherries are from Door County. But it's a big flavor here, and it's a hard seltzer.
Are these Fox Point raspberries, or?
They come right out of my backyard.
Yeah, well,
We used to have a raspberry bush in my
Sure,
house back
sure.
when I grew up, and I think I ate too many raspberries. And it's not my favorite flavor, but yeah. So we have those two hard seltzers. We have regular sparkling waters as well. We have ciders as well. So we
you have
a
great
lot of
ciders, by the way. Yeah,
we do, and
you almost have too many products. People don't even know what you have.
that's part of the problem. It's part of the issue. We keep going this way, but we want to get deeper in the great products that we have, and those other things around the edges. As you get people into your core products, they want to try different things, right?
Yep.
Just when people come here, they'll probably have most of the time they'll have the same meal, right? Most of the time, but all of a sudden, they go, what else do you have? What other fish do you have? What other chicken do you have? What other beef do you have? And I think that's where we need to play and kind of get refocused a little bit. Again, there's so many great products. It's like I've not tried them all. And you haven't either. We've already established that you haven't tried all.
So a different show apparently. We'll be here tasting these things, which is
Amen.
good too.
I'm in.
Fantastic.
I'll bring them all.
Fantastic.
But yeah, we do, and the team, our distributors carry all this stuff here, great retail partners, and we're starting to get in other areas. So interesting phenomenon too is beer in cans. Soda obviously comes in cans, but we've just expanded up into Minnesota with our beers and our sodas. And the first question our distributors asked was, what do you have in a can? What beers do you have in a can? Again, to that cheaper to haul and less breakage, and it protects the beer better.
Extended shelf life, absolutely.
Exactly.
Yep.
Quality is number one for everything we've done. So yeah, it's been a fun, exciting time, and all of a sudden, the last few weeks have been even more exciting with more people opening up and people kind of doing. We have the great traveling beer gardens, which have been out the Doctor's Park last weekend or the weekend before, which I went to 2 nights. Had to make sure it was fine.
Of course,
Lines
of course.
were clean the second
Of course,
night too.
yeah.
But it'll be up at Clutch next weekend, and we're still out at Fleming and now at Grant. So that moves around. It's fun. Have you been to any of the beer
I
gardens?
have, as a matter of fact, yes. Thank you.
The fire engines. Mm-hmm. Yeah, one of those was owned by Bruce Springsteen. I don't know if you knew that.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't. That's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Again, I'm dropping knowledge on Bob right here.
It's a beautiful thing. Keep dropping it. So, getting away from beer for just a moment, getting away from business for just a moment.
Just a moment?
Just a moment.
Because I got to come back.
Yeah, well, we will, of course. So, and we'll get away from Milwaukee as well, but let's just go
Where are we
back and
going?
find some old stories, something in the past that you can
About-
talk about.
About me?
Well, we could talk about the brothels that were upstairs once upon a time, or
Let's
maybe
talk
some things
about
in
that.
Europe. We could
I
find
did
all
not
sorts
know
of.
that. You had brothels up here? Back
Well, before me, of
right.
course.
No,
Right.
no. This
Please,
was
please, Jim.
6 years ago.
So,
Before Brewery and before...
from 1924 until 1946, so well after Prohibition, the Capones were the ones that came here in 24. Pardon me, and
thank you.
and put both the
Fill up my
speakeasy
glass.
bar here and brothels on the second and third floor, and we certainly have people that attempt to spend the night upstairs in the dead hooker's bedroom. Why the dead hooker, you ask? Well,
Why the dead hooker, Bob?
I'm glad you asked that question. In 2001, I found the remains of one of the hospitality workers in the floorboards right behind the kitchen upstairs. So you probably are aware, do a lot of things with both the
Now
feds.
you're dropping knowledge on me.
Today's young. At the end of that day, we'll be
It's
even.
Still flowing.
So anyway, you probably know that we are a big copper place and a big federal place. So I called the feds, and they came down, and then they called MPD, and then MPD brought the medical examiner in, and they took our bones away. And then a bunch of weeks go by, and then the ME comes back with boxes of bones, and Mr. Weiss, here are your bones. And I'm like, what do I do with these? And he says, anything you want. We decided that half these bones are domestic animal, the other half are human female remains, late teens, early 20s. They're about 70 years old. We go back for 50 years for cold cases. We're just going to toss them out. If you want to use them for something, here you go. Well, I would have put them on the wall because I'm just that kind of a guy, historian that I am.
Trying to figure out where they are.
There you go. But the guys that are working on the project upstairs with me were Native Americans, said we must give these a burial. We insist on giving them a proper burial. So, okay.
So you did?
We did. They're behind Wall Street overlooking Lake Michigan.
Yeah, it's a good spot for them.
It is. You'd think all would be well upstairs, but
No?
it's a lovely pet-a-terre up there. Jim, you'll get up there soon, and people attempt to spend the night, but only about 10% make it the entire night because things happen after 3 in the morning.
Wow.
It is a challenge. Say when. It's on me, of course.
Oh, my God. Well, we'll see. I have to ask, can I bring my wife?
Your wife or someone else's, it's all good. Whoever wants to investigate this with you, it's we're down with that.
Wow. I did not know that history. That's awesome. So 10%, how many people is that on a given year? I mean, like hundreds of people try it and...
No, co-vacation.
Co-vacation, yes.
On hiatus.
Do you have to wear a mask?
Please no. I mean, it's up to you if you want to. We're not going to ostracize you, but certainly the spirits upstairs don't care. We're about 15 times a month people attempt to spend the night up there.
Wow. So 1.5 people make it.
It sounds bizarre, but literally sometimes we'll wait till the last tour. They'll walk upstairs with their luggage, flight bag or something, and 10 minutes later they're back going, we've seen quite enough. Thank you very much. We are good.
Wow.
I'm not kidding.
What was the name of it, the place before it was?
How far back do you want to go?
Well, when the time you referenced, the after Prohibition.
It was just the near South Side brothel kind of thing, over the near South Side Cemetery, one of the 3 original cemeteries in the state of Wisconsin for non-Indigenous people. The Indian burial grounds were just that side of what's now 2nd, and this would be 2nd Street from National to Florida and into the marshes. There's a little stand of
Built
apple
up around
trees
here.
in the marshes. There's a little girl in 1835 named Elizabeth climbing for apples. She fell, she broke her neck. Way before Harry Potter, we've had a little girl in the bathroom. You should stop back and see her at some point. Right-hand stall.
Gonna need another beer for that.
Whatever you need, we got, but it's not going to matter. So, you've got some experience in Europe, right? You spent some time in Italy,
I
I
did. I
think.
lived in Italy. I lived in northern Italy in a small town called Cadrezzate. Worked for a major U.S. company that their European headquarters were there, Whirlpool. Yeah, and I had some friends come and visit. We had some very good times. One of them, we ended up going to a place where he said, you would never go to a place like this if I wasn't here, if you were just living here by yourself. I said, that's very true, and it was called the Club Venus. So many of my friends, if they are even listening, none of them maybe are, but, and it wasn't Joel, for the record, just also not Joel. We went to Club Venus, and it was not what you would have imagined. We thought that maybe, we just have a good time and see how it goes. And
solar system kind of a thing was up there. It was like, here's the galaxy. It was
people dancing.
Dancing.
Females dancing. Out of dancing, and then they sat down next to us, and
saloon girls to make sure that
girls, maybe some were part of the pre-prohibition Shakers at that time, and descendants of them, perhaps, I don't know, Romanian women in Italy. It was a bizarre night, yeah. And I had a small little car, and my buddy at one point was talking to a couple of the Romanian ladies, and all of a sudden this huge plate of salmon shows up. And before you knew it, this was when lira was still, we got the bill.
Here's the wheelbarrow.
Yeah, oh my God. And I spoke very broken Italian, and the gentleman looked like maybe out of a Godfather movie that were policing the joint. But yeah, there was smoked salmon involved, there was all kinds of food, and before you know, and nothing really happened at all, other than I was pissed. My bill came, and it was like $1 million lira. I mean, I don't even know what $1 million lira is, but it was a lot. And, I'm a poor kid working over there, just trying to make ends meet. And my buddy has the great idea of, why don't we just leave? Why don't we just ditch out on the bill? I'm like,
who's going to notice?
Yeah,
a couple Americans walk out the door.
American kids walking out the door. We couldn't get through them because they were the size of the door. Bob, dressed in tuxedos, and so I talked to one of the young ladies from Romania who said, you should go demand a discount. Discount, sure. So I go into the kitchen with 3 of these large Italian men, and I started yelling at them in Italian. And I'll never forget yelling in my broken Italian, and the guy just starts laughing at me like, you're a complete idiot. Like, obviously I wasn't very intimidating or very threatening to anybody. So we got a free dessert out of that, Bob. We didn't get a discount. And my buddy...
Is that euphemism for something else?
No,
it was a dessert.
Chocolate cake. It was truly a chocolate cake that nothing.
And then you got the icing on the cake, though, right?
We did not get any icing on the cake either, which also prompted a lot of, well, they closed the place, and we're walking out, and my buddy's yelling, and I'm yelling, and this is, we get in the car, he goes, well, just throw your credit card out the window now and just say you lost it and don't pay the bill. I'm like, dude, I got to live here. I don't have another credit card. So, yeah, and the bills were coming to my parents' house at the time. And I had to explain that one. I remember my father, who's passed away, but yeah, I remember it was one of the greatest moments with my daddy. I called him and I told him the story. He goes, well, that's pretty good because there's a charge on here for like $1,000 from the Club Venus. Glad you. And he was coming to visit the next week with my mother, and he gets off the plane and he puts his arm around me and he goes, so let's go to the Club Venus. Great bonding moment, but yeah, it was one of the more bizarre evenings I've ever had, and I did keep my credit card, thank God, and I paid my bill and paid a lot of other dues.
Well, thankfully they weren't Russian or Ukrainian, because that would be astronomically larger.
Well, they would have had a lot of dirt on me. Yeah,
well, something.
Yeah, exactly. So no, that was about the extent of that one. Unfortunately, I can't tell all my other stories, but not many other brothels.
No,
many
of course
other,
not.
Just
No,
a few.
sure.
Except for here.
Bowling alley brothel, same thing in many ways, right? Starts with the B.
But yes, so I enjoyed my time in Europe. Went to Oktoberfest. Have you been to Oktoberfest?
I have not been to the Oktoberfest in Munich.
In Munich, absolutely. Same guy went with me to Oktoberfest. He's trouble. Joel's watching. He knows who it is.
So they haven't found the body yet, apparently. It's,
I can neither confirm nor deny.
Sure.
What,
Right.
Perfect. Yeah, it's if you get a chance. I guess they're not having it this year though.
No.
Oktoberfest.
No.
COVID-cation.
COVID-cation yet again.
It's phenomenal, which is what Summerfest is based on, right? The original Oktoberfest started.
Henry Meyer, Henry Jordan. Yep,
Somebody named
absolutely. Henry.
Henrik. But yeah, so you need to go next year.
I do.
2021.
Maybe we can get a group thing together.
I'm in.
Sure. Perfect. My experience in Germany, by the way, is I like the lagers. I really like the pilsners a lot. And I used to have a place called Easy Street. Did you ever hear about Easy
No,
Street? It
I
had
did
the
not.
largest selection of porter beers in the Midwest, if not the entire country. This is back in the 70s. I was like 5 or 6 at the time. And we had just extraordinary products. But I've tasted everything in the market for years and years and years. And I go through different cycles and spins of what I like and don't like. What I currently don't like are all these IPAs and the double and triple IPAs that are just so far over the top with IPA-ness, right? That I think that
Technical beer term.
yeah, thank you.
IPA-ness.
That they're much different than what beer in my mind kind of is as beer.
It's starting to actually
Come
come
back?
back
Yeah.
towards the marketing word being more sessionable, or as my friends would say, more poundable kind of beers and drinkable. We have a great Pilsner, by the way, if you had that.
I have.
Pils.
I have.
It tastes like some of the best Pilsners I've had.
Sure,
like
like a
Pilsner
Bitburger,
Raquel.
like yeah.
Very, very similar to that. But those are the kind of beers that people are kind of getting back into because these double, triple IPAs, I mean, how much more can you have? And, you want someone to sit and have 1, 2, 3 beers in your place.
Yep.
And you want to have a good time with your friends. And if you just kind of sip these really huge beers. And part of the reason why those went the way they did is because Pilsners and lagers are very hard to make. Double, triple IPAs, you can mask some of the impurities, and if you mess the batch up a little bit, I've done home brewing, you can mess some things
Sure.
up, and you still can hide some of the
Sure.
some of it. But in a more fragile beer,
Right.
you can't hide them in there, right?
Yep.
But it's when you have a good cold lager or a Pilsner, man, right? it's
Well, the
just
cloisoning
best.
process by itself is
Yeah.
dramatically more expensive than it is to make an IPA.
It is, right? It is. So people, I think it's kind of coming back to
It's
that.
top fermentation as opposed to bottom fermentation.
Home brewer.
Lush.
Owner of a fine bar and restaurant. But yeah, we're seeing that a ton right now where people are like, enough's enough. Like double, triple, quad, the more, there's some sessionable IPAs, again, like our Juicy or our Refresh Button, 4 or 5% alcohol. So it's got a little bit of that flavor to it, but those are really hard to make. Those take a long time
Yep.
to make too.
Yeah.
So you want to turn your tanks around, you want to get beer out so we can get people to buy them. And of course, everyone's in things to make $1 or $2. We want to get rich, but not.
At the end of the day, we
Yeah.
all want to make a buck
We
or two.
all want to make a buck or two, right?
Right.
But we want to do it in the right way. And
Right.
Milwaukee's a great place for it. It really is. And I assume that's why you've been here so long.
Yeah, that's certainly one very important reason. However, I think that there's been a change in the marketplace, and specifically in your world the last couple of years, because there were all these microbrewers that came on the scene. Let's go back maybe 4 or 5 years, and they're just popping up everywhere, right? And at one point, I think like 16 per year, or whatever it might be, maybe a bigger number.
Milwaukee?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and now they've got to be just dying off because even before the co-vocation thing, there just has not been the market for that, and you've got a preponderance of watermelon IPAs and things like that.
Preponderance. Word of the day. Preponderance.
Well, the day's young. So I mean, but you've got this glut of the market of all sorts of weird things that are frankly just weird. It's not like Austin weird. It's just like weird. Okay, so I don't like to see anybody going out of business because I hope everyone does well. But the reality is, some of these things are just so far, they're outliers, just so far out here that they can't have sustainability, right?
Agreed. I mean, and diversification of your portfolio, preponderance of diversification would be good. But diversity, that's part of the reason why we've been able to do as well as we have, quite honestly, is because of our sodas. People are drinking sodas. Our great local retail partners here, they're selling a lot of our sodas, and then our beers get noticed as well. But if you are focused just on one thing and you're just a tap room and you don't have any, it's been tough. And I've talked to a lot of these guys, and some of them are friends, and I feel for them, right? And we kind of try to band together and help each other out a little bit. But just the one tap room. I mean, there were at the high point, and I think a number of them are starting to go south. To your point, I know in Michigan, I've talked to some of our distributors there. There are a number that are just starting to close their doors, unfortunately. But there were over 8,500 breweries in the United States.
Holy balls.
8,500 that were at the beginning of this year. Right? And then in Milwaukee, around this 10-mile radius, there was about 60.
Well, there's even expansion taking place today with at least one of the local brew pubs kind of thing, and I'm not sure I can understand where their market is, to be honest with you, because I don't think that their beer is drinkable, palatable,
I'm not going to comment.
worth having.
Yeah.
We'll find one,
Yes,
whatever.
yes,
Okay.
Yes.
So anyway,
Whatever the case may be in your book.
but they're expanding. So I recall back in like 95, 96, I was a food and beverage consultant for a very prominent brew pub that was located south of here. And the thing that I really stressed for them, and I was also involved with one in Cherry Creek, Colorado, was that you have to have good food because it's just like, a lot of people open up bars because they just frankly want to get tail. Nobody gets more tail than bartenders. That's the old thought on this, but that's a very insular kind of thing, and that gets you out of business pretty quickly too, right?
Yeah.
But the other thing is that if all you've got is the ability to pour a booze into someone's drink, into someone's mouth, that's your thing.
Right.
That's really going less than nowhere, right?
Yeah.
So then perhaps if you are able to make them food as well in the morning or something, now you've got a relationship that's beginning, right? So it's the same thing that I look at with brew pubs, is that it's not just that you have to have really good beer and really good service as well, by the way, but you also have to have something that they can absorb, not just like drop another basket of curds or something, but something that brings a reason to come to that place, and then they go, holy crap, this is a complete experience that is so righteous.
100%.
And I don't see that taking place in a few of the things that are around, and it's unfortunate.
I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, again,
go ahead, come on,
my
try. Yeah.
Previous employer, I mean, we tried to open a brew pub, and we realized, and it's done well. The Blue Moon Brewing Company has a pub and restaurant, and we quickly realized that's not our core competence, right? You have to have great food, and they do have great food, but it was a learning, right? So any of the places you come for the food and the beer. You don't just come for the beer. You come for the food and the beer, and then that adds to the experience and everything else. So I agree with you 100%. You have to lead, and you have to have great food, and you have to be known for something. You have to be known for something. Otherwise, if you're known for nothing, like I think we have great, classic Germanic styles of beer that we're known for, right? We got to branch out a little bit because now we have the authority to do that because we've established ourselves as this. And similar to you have your core food items, and you can start branching out because you're known for these things. And I think the experiment, you're going to get some of it wrong, right? Maybe not you. We do.
Oh,
we get some
no,
wrong.
of course I did. At our peak for Babalu's Foods, I had 38 SKUs, and then I had this wild hair to develop just an organic line. And so we started baby food as well because I had my first child then. And then we got the wrath of the FDA because in order to do baby food, you had to have a full-time chemist 24/7, all 3 shifts, even though you're not running 3 shifts.
Right.
I'm like, this is absurd.
Right.
So that got us out of the baby food, and then just the organic food
shifts
was interesting
and
because they kept changing the criteria. What is organic? It's almost like Dr. Fauci, what does or doesn't work to prevent the COVID, But it was overbearing at that point. So I said, we really have to cut back to maybe a dozen or something of our SKUs. Other things we can do is a limited release or something, but to have in rotation just was a killer.
And service. And then the service aspect is incredible, and it's incredibly hard, especially even before the COVID hit. It was hard to find people, right?
Yep.
And now, obviously, the industry has taken quite a hit, and people have moved on, and I don't know how that'll impact the industry either. I don't know, and you would have a better insight than me on that, but I think it'll be hard. So.
I concur. It's a brave new world, though, so it also provides opportunities. So we just have to find a way to get that opportunity and to haul it in.
Yeah.
So traditional things aren't going to work, whether that's marketing, advertising, or anything else.
Right.
Much of that is just off to the side now. So I don't have the answer for what does work, but I know that's tired.
How has social media impacted your business?
Well, we are not on the best of terms with Facebook right now. So we have 20 different pages going, and at one point we had over probably 350,000 people that followed our things on a weekly basis. Now, for about a year, Facebook does not allow us to promote. I can post on all the sites, but we can't advertise. We're spending about $75,000 a year on advertising just with Facebook. So with that gone, we had to be more creative and find different ways to move different things. So we are very aggressive in our postings for social media and the myriad other things that now that encompasses. But you're talking about something which frankly is way beyond my expertise. I'm just a little aged out from much of that.
Yeah, I didn't know if it's kind of changed how you approach people or how you interact with people or folks that come up from Chicago or wherever else around the country and they say, oh, I followed you because my friend went and had a great experience and now I want to come, and those are the kind of things.
Jim, that's the answer. The same thing you do at Sprecher is you have an extraordinary product and you have word of mouth. Guerrilla advertising has been my best thing, guerrilla marketing for even before I opened this, so 40 some years ago. And that works better than any conventional source will ever do for you because it's the personal experience that your friend has had says, hey, Jim, it's a cool place. You should go try that out.
It's shifted, right? The whole
it has, and I think it's back to that a very experiential portion of that because you hear so much blather all the time, and you get I don't know how many dozens or hundreds of emails I receive every day. It's like just delete, 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 and it doesn't matter what the message is. I don't have the time or luxury of time to go through those, and frankly, I don't care.
Yeah, well, the heritage of a place, the authenticity of a place. The recommendation, even, there's a lot of different mediums out there, and how do you actually do it in a way that's people get information. They crave information. That will never change, right? People will always crave information, and that's what advertising or marketing, whatever the hell you want to call it, is. It's just how you get it, and that's what we think. Similar to you, you've 34, 35 years, you've been around. There's a heritage and authenticity, and it matters to people. Oh, that's a real thing in a real place, right? And I just don't know how you approach it any differently than we do, or
I'm sure exactly the same thing. Your grumpy old man Randy is gone, and they still have to deal with me, the grumpy old guy here. But at the end of the day, there's experience that goes along with that as well. So there's, in my mind, at least, great value in experience, no matter what tier it might be. And just like having staff that's with you for 4 or 5 or 6 years or more is priceless, priceless. And you've got that entire heritage of that operation. You have extraordinary people working for you. And then, you have a great reputation yourself into what you've been able to transformatively make take place.
Our Brewmaster, who won the Global Brewmaster of the Year, at the GABF, is the same guy that made Special Amber and the same guy that made Black Berry. He's still the same guy there, and he can make great beers. And I think that matters to people, just because that style isn't everybody's style. Now you move to new styles and new tastes and new flavors. And where did zero sugars come from? I mean, probably in soda, probably 10 years, 15 years ago. Well, you have to put artificial flavors in there. And now you don't, right? Because there's ways to do it, and there are ways to come through it. And just like you, there's ways to get people in through the door that's different, and some of it stays the same. It just gets replated differently.
Well, as the only licensed cigar bar in the city of Milwaukee, no calories, no cholesterol, and a high source of dietary fiber in every cigar.
That's why we're here.
Who doesn't want that?
Who doesn't? Bourbon, Sprecher, cigars. It's not a bad afternoon.
And lovely Shakerettes will be showing up at some point. So
what time is that?
About 4 o'clock.
Can we keep it going? It says I need to stand here.
There you go. We can keep it going as long as you want.
And you've traveled around, and you bring some of your culinary dishes from different parts of the globe you've been to and kind of infuse that a little bit?
I absolutely do that, and we've got a huge thing going on with the Shakers channel as well. So if you watch that, it's not just the killer interviews with people like you, but it's the cooking shows and it's the cocktail shows. So whether I'm doing Bahamian style conch here, whether I'm doing any number of different
seafood. What was that?
Yes. So whether I'm doing any of the seafoods that I find in different places and work with, or even the opportunity to bring in the fine Alaskan things like halibut cheeks, any of those things that you typically don't experience in this market, or lionfish or piranha or anything like that. That's really what our cup of cognac is, if you will. And even for land animals, man. I mean, we do an awful lot of wild game, and I don't just mean the wild boar that we do have for the next dinner, which will be on July 3rd, by the way. The fireworks dinner on the 3rd of July, without the fireworks, naturally.
Can you still call it the fireworks dinner?
We can call it anything you want to.
Okay.
Yeah,
I don't know if you're going to have fireworks here. I saw there. a lot of fireworks being consumed.
Well,
these days
if you get
as
the
well.
wrong staff working together, you will have fireworks, but no.
Upstairs?
Upstairs
In the brothel?
on the rooftop, adjacent to the brothel. But so we've done. I've done lion, African lion here. I will never do it again, and
Why is
it's
that?
well. There's all sorts of repercussions now to do lion, but it's not particularly good, by the way. So
I thought maybe
if
that
you-
was the
If
main
you were to think
reason.
about well, as a foodie, if you think about those components
tough.
of
Gamey?
meat that you don't want, it is both of those. So the wild game that we get, whether it's antelope or zebra or whatever it might be, no-guy antelope, it could be anything that we do here, isn't gamey at all. It's incredibly fresh tasting.
For sure.
But lion is old and like tired liver with this really bad texture to it.
It's a bad marketing tagline.
Yeah,
that
so we
doesn't
don't
sell as
we
well
don't
when
do
you-
it. So there you go.
Well, I'm going out west with the family. We're doing an RV trip. So if you need any game, you let me know. I'll strap it right to the top, just like Aunt Edna on vacation. And we'll bring her back for you.
Sure, we'll call it game to keep your wife happy, but just send them a ticket and bill me. It's all good. But
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
Antelope? What's your favorite?
Well, I enjoy antelope. It's the best red meat you're going to get.
I've had that.
That and elk
Wow.
is wonderful, especially the Texas antelope, which is originally a Himalayan no-guy antelope. Marvelous, or the Sika deers, or the black
really?
bucks.
And you have had all that here?
Why, yes, time and again. In fact, Sprecher in the back in the old day used to sponsor some of those dinners here. So, but you mentioned Don Wambach earlier. He could certainly
Yes.
cue you up on all sorts of
I
things
will.
that we've done
Wombo's
here.
got great stories too. He goes way back.
He does. Actually, his best stories are, well, many of his better stories are Nam stories, and those
Yes.
he is somewhat reluctant to tell, I'm sure,
I've
on
heard
camera.
one or two of them, but
Yeah.
He's a veteran of the industry. He's got,
Yep.
Every day he's got a story for you.
Yep.
I've heard a couple of them, the same ones now already, but there's some good ones.
Yes, there are. There are many, many really good stories from Vietnam and that era, yes.
Yes, and wow, you grew up here in Milwaukee too, right?
Yes,
Basketball
absolutely.
Player and
Yeah.
been a good friend for years, and I think hopefully for you as well.
Yeah.
Good customer service, right? You can't replace it.
There is no one working in the industry today that has the same concept and follow through that Don Wambach does for sales. That person is gone except for him, a dinosaur. But man, is he good.
He's the best. No,
Yep.
I see him every day, and I learn something from him every day when I listen to him. So,
Good stuff.
very good.
That dude would walk through walls once upon a time. Obviously,
literally.
We've all gotten old, but you know, yeah. Back in the Army Ranger days, he was something. Yep.
Well, yeah. What's the plan for the 4th of July? You have the 3rd of July. What's the plan for the 4th?
Well, at this point, the same as the 3rd because there's no fireworks. So the 3rd is on a Friday, the 4th
Right.
is on a Saturday, and our rooftop deck is open on weekends right now. It doesn't have the same play that it does in other years. A lot of the corporate things have, just gone on hiatus as well. My daughter and her husband work at GE Medical. They're both project managers, and they're not going to be back until fall or the end of the year.
Back to their office, you're saying?
Right, but
Yeah.
there's any of the major industry that's down here as well, and we get a lot of the C-suite guys, and they're not having their people back
Yeah.
either. So,
Yeah.
it's, as you've mentioned several times, there's no blueprint, there's no rules to this thing. It's a brave new world in so many ways, and we can only hope that it comes back to either a sense of normalcy or a new normalcy that is, positive, progressive. But you have to also think about the AI influence and how we are getting away from just having employees anymore, right? So there's maybe a 20% reduction of the workforce that can be handled or accomplished, or should be perhaps, by robotics and or AI. Certainly a lot of the food products should be done that way. But I'm sure brewing as well. So you got that guy, you got that alchemist who not just creates the recipe but perfects the recipe. But from that point on, it's just chemistry, man.
It is.
Right?
It's an art and a science, right? Because
Right.
you got to know your what you're working with, and the line you're
Yeah.
working with, and the lauter ton you're working with, and the sparge, and
Right.
everything else has got a little bit different. What is the water here is a little bit different than the water here,
Yep.
and the pH is different. So,
Yep.
but once you nail it, yeah, I mean, you can kind of get away with some things, but depends on your equipment that you have. And but yeah, it is an interesting. your habits tend to change a little bit, and they do. And I've noticed that even about myself. And I'm a huge baseball fan, and I think for the first time, you find other things to do to fill the time. And Friday night I got home and I was just wanted a Brewers game on so bad. I just did. It was the first time in a while. So I think once some of that gets used up, the time you're like, all right, there's so many things, except I do need to watch your Netflix specials. I haven't watched those yet.
That's part of it. I mean, I'm sure you saw it outside. So I've got my Tesla sitting outside, and it's fueling up right now because I've got it hooked up outside the building for a supercharger. And I've got this beautiful Alfa Romeo that if I thought it wasn't going to rain, I would have brought down today. So this car, the Tesla, is fast as grease lightning. That's not why I bought it. It's smooth. It's the future. It's everything, right? It's the complete thing. But that Alfa, especially the top down, is the soul, right?
Right.
So we're getting into a society that's going to be more technologically perfected.
Yeah.
And smoother and better and faster and efficient, whatever else, but it won't have the soul.
No, that's a great point and a great analogy around it. We think we're losing a little bit of that right now. I would say for me, I have 4 young kids, and my poor 16-year-old daughter. It's been hell on her, right? And she asked me, "What was your favorite summer day?" I said, "That was summer between sophomore and junior year when I went down to Summerfest and I just started bonding with people, right? And playing basketball, and these guys, the juniors take care of the younger guys and whatever." And she was like literally in tears, like, "I got to spend all summer with you for the love of God." But I, as a dad, you look at it and go, "My God, this is the opportunity of a lifetime," right? Because it doesn't happen that way anymore. So yeah, you kind of ebb and flow, and different things matter in different ways. And believe me, she's found her way to have fun. She lost the keys for the car the other day out in Waukesha. If you're watching, Sarah, gotcha. But yeah, but those are life experiences that there will always be there, and there will always be part of the soul. The soul it shifts a little bit.
Changes.
Yeah.
So a couple of generations ago, our families, ancestors, went through World War II. Extreme deprivations.
Yeah.
They had nothing. It wasn't like going to Cuba complaining about not having toilet paper for a day. It's like you got no toilet paper. You've got nothing. You have to take your whatever silver to donate that
Right.
to make for munitions or something else, right? So we have nothing compared to those deprivations,
sure.
but our generation has problems, and then our children's generation, dear good God, it's just unfathomable. Right?
Yeah, we're mortgaging the future a little bit,
Yeah.
I think, and how does it all come back? And it will, I think. Listen, this is America, and to your point, we've had these issues before,
Yep.
and you bounce back, and
Yep.
it'll all come back. How and when, I don't know what that blueprint looks like.
Taking down the Fonzie statue, I got a problem with that as well. I think, history is history. It's there for a reason, and it doesn't matter if we like it or not, but it is a historical marker of time
Yeah.
of where we were at some point.
For sure.
Taking down fucking Fonzie?
We took down Fonzie?
There's a movement right now to take down Fonzie.
We can't take down Fonzie. I'm with you.
I won't. And he's
Why
truly,
would we take
in the
Fonzie
world
down?
scheme, he's insignificant, right?
He's a character.
He's a character. He's just a character.
I was having such a good day, Bob. Baseball's coming back.
Well,
Great conversation.
we sure
cigar,
hope
and bourbon, and now
baseball's
you tell me
coming back,
Fonzie's
but
coming down. I can't deal with that either. I did not know that. That's not good.
it's not right.
No, it's not right.
And where does it end, by the way? What purpose did that serve?
I did not know the Fonzie was coming down.
Eskimo pies. I went to the Metro Mart on Sunday,
Should
Father's
I look
Day,
at
to buy myself an Eskimo pie because they're going to be gone, right? None on the shelf.
Why they're going to be gone for?
Oh, you haven't heard this?
No.
So the makers of Eskimo pie have decided that due to conflict that they're taking Eskimo pie down because Eskimo is apparently a derogatory term for
Okay.
one who eats raw meat. If that's the case, you got a whole lot of problems going on, by the way. But seriously, if I'm lying, I'm dying. They're going to discontinue Eskimo pies.
What else? What am I missing?
No,
what else am I missing? Is there anything else you need to tell me? I don't want to get political. Too political.
A lot. I'm waiting for the sex bots actually to come on the scene because then we as
Is that efficiency? Is that also the AI move?
we are 6 to 9 months away from this, my friend. Men are already obsolete. in today's dating world or, whatever it might be, men really are obsolete. You notice that there's a lot more women walking around with dogs now?
Yeah.
Because that is their soulmate in so many ways. That's the person they can talk to. That's the person, because men, they can't talk to men. So we just talk to the dog, take the dog for a walk,
mulching.
enjoy the dog. Mulching?
I mulch.
I'm sure you could find someone you can pay to do the mulching euphemistically. But once those sex bots are here, I mean, Blade Runner, right? Rachel Ward. Who doesn't want Rachel Ward?
We're not
right?
too far off, are we?
We're not. No, we're not. Not
What
at
year
all.
was that?
82, I think, is when that came
was
out.
made, but what was it? What year was it about?
2021.
Oh boy, 6 months. We're at the halfway mark.
The future is upon us.
It might be here already.
Might be.
No Fonzie statue. It's like a part of Milwaukee.
With that gone, what's the purpose? What's the reason to go there? I mean, it's gone, right? I mean, it's a lovely river walk, but right
You
there.
gotta get. It's your photo. It's your photo moment. It's not going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen.
Maybe Sprecher needs to stand up and say, "Hey,
Put a Sprecher in his hand.
Sprecher in his hand."
We watched Laverne and Shirley the other night. Actually, I made my children watch it.
That's good.
They hated it.
Sure, Shots Brewery, right?
Right. They hated it. They said, "This is a dumb show, Dad."
And it was. Smart kids, and
And
it
the
was.
kids may have been right.
Yeah.
Yes,
Right.
It was a offshoot
Sure,
of the second.
sure.
Happy Days was a good.
Ron Howard, yeah,
Happy Days was good.
absolutely.
And then we watched Naked Gun though. I like that one.
Sure.
The
Well,
Zuckers.
Americana, either way, same
The
thing.
Zuckers.
It's
Enrico Palazzo.
pure, wholesome,
Enrico Palazzo.
better days. Enrico Palazzo, yeah. Sure. Anything you want to talk about at this point? I mean, we've got so much that we've covered, and yet, how about your favorite food? What about that?
Oof, my favorite food. Obviously, I like a lot of it. You know what I really like is a good barbecue. And I did get one of the green eggs from my family for Father's Day and birthday present.
With ham?
Green eggs and ham.
Right.
I do not like them,
You
Sam I am.
could do that
Remember
ham.
that
You
Saturday
could
Night Live with Jesse Jackson?
do that ham in the green egg if you wanted to, but okay.
I haven't done that yet, but ribs.
I recommend it.
But I also like a whole chicken on there.
But a spaghetti pie is what I reckon.
What I wanted for Father's Day.
Spaghetti
Wow.
pie.
Cool.
Have you ever had that?
I have not.
Another thing we got
I'm bringing you spaghetti pie.
with the refresh bun.
I'm living in a cave apparently here.
Apparently, I
Wow.
am with the Eskimo pies
Yeah.
and the Fonzie statue.
Nah. Well, there you go. So
What's your favorite?
we did an Austin-style brisket here for the Father's Day dinner. So the first course was a really cool shrimp dish with, I have a new young lady in the kitchen who is Mexican, and I had her do a salsa verde with the shrimp, and then we get a chicken fried steak, because it's kind of a southern-esque kind of thing.
Yep.
And then the Austin-style barbecue that cooked for 14 or 15 hours, that was just sublime.
Yeah.
Like you don't get brisket in Milwaukee, it was sublime. And then a real simple pecan pie with the bourbon sauce. So we do a lot of things like that. In fact, I'm using a China box for the wild boar that we're doing on July
really?
3rd on the
July
rooftop.
3rd.
My favorite, I eat a lot of seafood.
I like seafood, which I like, like scallops. That's one of my favorites.
You've never had my scallops? Donnie Wambach could
I
tell
have
you
had your
about
scallops here
really?
with,
Okay.
I think with Joel when I came
Well,
here,
that
as a
yeah,
matter of
okay,
fact.
cool. We should bring Joel back,
I will. He's busy.
especially now that we have the lieutenant governor coming down to
Yes,
chat
we'll
for a while.
let him-
That might be
I
some
will-
motivation.
I will get him down here. I'll tell him.
I'd
you
be
need to come down.
I'd be
and
thrilled to have Joel back in the house.
I will absolutely. I'll text him today. As a matter of fact.
Cool, thank you.
Yeah, but no, I guess I started getting my love of barbecue and lived in Kansas City for about 2 years. And I went to a place that was literally a gas station. It was called Oklahoma Joe's. It was in Kansas City. Now it's called Kansas City Joe's. They changed rebranded after we left. And I literally had a company car, and I'm trying to use the credit card, the company gas card, and it wouldn't take it. What the hell? Of my luck, I get the only gas station that's between my house and the freeway, and it doesn't. And then I would see these lines of people like lining up out the door, and I'm like, this place is just flipping weird, right? Forget it. And having a lunch with people in the office one day, like, have you ever been to Oklahoma Joe's? And I said, no. They explain where it is, and I go, I guess that's a barbecue place, not a gas station. Really, no one goes there for gas. No wonder why. And it was the best place from a barbecue perspective there. You can actually, I do fly it in once a year for New Year's Eve.
Cool.
Just a phenomenal.
Well, one day I'll make some things to you here. So
I will be here.
Shorter flight,
yes,
by the way.
Shorter
but yeah,
flight, and
yeah.
I will have some. It's nothing against your food, Bob. I'm just saying. I want to come here, and
Of course you do.
I have 4 children. Did I mention that I have 4 children?
I
And I
understand.
have no time for me.
My dear
I gotta
God,
do a lot of mulching.
God, sure, I do understand. So aside from in the U.S., what about your best food experience somewhere?
Thailand. Sawaji, I think it was the name of the place. And,
Okay.
right outside of Phuket. And I remember going there, and it was just this little hole in the wall that someone recommended who had been there before. My wife and I were there for a honeymoon, and I'll just never forget the green curry seafood that we had. And then, I mean, it was just that. I've never tasted anything like it since.
And obviously
Before
you're still
since.
married, so it worked out well.
It worked out just fine, yeah.
Fantastic.
We avoided it. We were there the year before the big tsunami. So that was watching that like a year later. You're like,
Sure.
oh my God, that could have been us. So,
Yeah,
have you
well.
been to Thailand?
I have not been to Thailand. Hong Kong was my only Eastern experience at this point.
One of my favorite cities in the world, actually. Not maybe my favorite. I would go there. I worked for a lighting company. We had a plant, and then I actually in grad school, did a class in Hong Kong. So, phenomenally fun city.
I love Hong Kong.
Fong.
Love Hong Kong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Street food?
Maybe
You
not
have some street
Kowloon.
food?
Of course. How do you not? Yeah. So what about your favorite beverage, worldly,
Worldly.
away from beer?
Away from, oh my God, now it's getting hard.
Heresy, I know. But
Yeah, I mean, overall, I do love bourbons, and people that will say, they want to bring a gift or something, whatever, and my wife will say, well, he doesn't drink a lot of other things, but when he does drink bourbon, so thanks, Bob.
I kind of picked up on that. It seemed like there was a...
Hole in my glass.
Right.
So I like to sample a lot of them. I have friends in the industry that, down in, whether it's down in Kentucky or other places.
Sure.
That just, so we have a lot of bottles that I haven't had. We have some of this actually at home as well. This is one of my favorites actually. We have a little tradition in our family where we do the Wednesday. Do you do anything the Wednesday before Thanksgiving? No. Party or anything?
No, here we do. Not at home because
No,
I'm
here you
always
do.
here. Yeah.
So maybe
Yeah.
we should come down.
Monstrous.
We always have a
Sure.
We call it the Turkey Eve party, and it's all the dads, my brother outlaws, and all the kids. We have 16 kids in the crew,
Sure.
and the dads. What can go wrong? And the moms go to the lake and sleep over. And what can go wrong?
Not a thing.
Not a thing has ever gone wrong, except people.
And the
Not
kid,
the dads, the kids puking in the rooms because they've eaten too much food, and
Sure.
it's just a
And
disaster.
the kids
It's a
can drive
disaster.
home, and you can hang out the Shakerettes here.
Well, I usually have it in my
perfect.
house, so I
Well,
don't
of
have to go
course.
anywhere. And then everyone just crashes,
Sure.
and it's a disaster. It's
Uh-huh.
like a frat house.
Yeah.
Kid frat house.
Those damn kids.
Damn kids. But it's one of their favorite nights. They've actually, my son was asked when he was 2 years ago, so when he was in 3rd grade, what are your favorite holidays? Number 1, Turkey Eve. So he wrote it down. But you have a party here.
We do.
So what
Every
do you
year.
call it?
Well, it's just
You
Thanksgiving
can't take
Eve.
Turkey Eve.
We
That's
don't
trademarked.
use Turkey Eve. No. Not to this point, we haven't.
You can use it.
Well, thank you. We'll pass though, but thank you.
Is it packed?
It said royalty.
That's the biggest on-premise night of the year.
It is. It's bigger than New Year's.
Right? I know.
However, for us, probably Halloween or that season,
For you, probably Halloween,
because
right?
in entire October, late September until mid-November, we will do as many as 15 tours per day, just for ghost tours, 15 and 20 people each, $25 a head.
Wow.
Yeah, it's okay. And then our conversion, of course, for cigars,
Yeah.
for food, for drinks, whatever else, it's absurdly busy here. In fact, we try to get people not to come in October now because it's bad enough there's a lot of Saturdays now that you will have lines outside, and we've incrementally been like that for many years anyway. Saturdays are tough to get in as it is, but
Right.
Halloween is
Absurd. Right? Just crazy.
Yep.
No costumes.
I didn't say that.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if that was.
I don't, because of course I'm working,
Yes.
you know.
Yes.
Or I'm too
Why
cool for
would you wanna
school
do
or
that?
some
Yeah, I
such
didn't know.
thing. Yeah.
It's hard to eat with some of the costumes people have. No? What's the craziest costume you've seen on somebody during that Halloween time period?
tape. I think we had a woman in one year that just had electrical tape over her goodies and her lady parts.
Electrical tape. That
Yeah,
would
it
be
was
hard to get
like
off.
3/4 of an inch. It was. It left little to
Hopefully you
the
use
imagination.
the, what is that? You know, like when you tape somebody up, like an athletic tape, you put that, what's it called? Yeah, over the top of it so it doesn't.
Yeah, I think she probably enjoyed the.
Yeah.
You know, seeing her a few times, it's probably. I don't know. We've had a lot of really bizarre things. We'd have like the 5 people coming in as the like gas pump kind of things. There's all sorts of things you would find, but the last couple of years really seems to be just like more women dressed like hookers and whores or streetwalkers, whatever it might be, who might
Is that
judge.
an indictment on our society?
I think it is.
Yeah.
Very definitely indictment on our society. I mean, well,
But you also have the rooms upstairs. They're not looking to use those, are they?
there are rooms upstairs, yes.
Yeah. Well, considering the history of the place.
And how could you not? But just think about what takes place in broadcast media today. I mean, and it is so over the top schlocky.
It's unbelievable.
And yeah, it is.
All reality shows.
It is. And yet, you know, I'm in Europe quite a bit, and you watch television. Not that I generally watch television there, but you can't help but have something on when you're changing or something incrementally. And it's full frontal nudity, it's something else, and yet it doesn't have the same impact as the stuff that takes place here.
Yeah,
So,
interesting.
yeah.
European style.
European
Yeah,
style.
Yeah, European. So, what's the most creative costume you've seen here?
Oh, in
No,
30 odd
they-
years.
Apparently the
I'm
tape stands out.
I'm working. I mean, I'm here to work. Honest to God, I don't
Yeah.
have the luxury of not.
Certainly, I
So
didn't know if something
there's
jumped out.
any
Oh my
not
God,
real.
that's phenomenal. The you know, all it kind of goes with the times. Do we watch the Cubs? Steve Bartman, 30 for 30 the other night, and then that year everyone was dressed as Steve Bartman. That poor guy.
Jerry Ryan. We had Jerry Ryan from The Next Generation here one year. TSR used to come here when they were located in Lake Geneva. We did massive things, 450 people on all 3 floors. And one year they brought Jerry Ryan in costume, and she was extraordinary. So, like the next year, we had people that would try to do that same thing, which was still an eyeful, but it wasn't Jerry Ryan. Oh my God, 7 to 9. I don't know if you're familiar, but
I'm not.
well, when you get off here, you should look up 7 of 9 on
My phone?
there too.
Oh, got it.
Okay.
Good.
So the future for Sprecher is looking
Yeah.
pretty bright from my perspective.
Well, we appreciate it. We think so. Thanks to loyal followers of the brand and people like you that have stuck with us through whether it's thick or thin or recommendations you make. And, you know, the COVID-cation, as you called it, gave us a bit of a moment. There's no blueprint, so we made it up, right? Like I said, we cleaned the hell out of the place. We redid the gift shop, we repainted, repositioned, and we got innovation coming. And it's been a hell of a lot of fun. Like I said, it's you being an entrepreneur and a business owner. It's fun and scary and exciting all at the same time. And it just added a little extra intestinal fortitude to get some shit done. And we've enjoyed it 90% of the time, which is all I can ask for.
So I think at one fine point in time in the near future, we will probably talk to you about getting a little sponsorship of this program or something going on, or doing a dinner or something here.
Yeah, we would love to do a
whatever's
dinner here.
whatever's fun.
Again, whatever works with you, and love to be a part of it. And you have a great loyal following, and we love being part of Milwaukee more than anything. I mean, that is truly who we are, where we're going. The community's been so very supportive of us. And you get it. If there's not people coming through the door consuming your product, you can't win. And we just want to be that great, authentic place, whether they're having a beer here or a soda here or up at our place, up at doing a tour and seeing where it's made. I mean, that's just what gives you joy. That's what gives you joy, right? Being a part of that, being a part of the fabric of the community is something that you've been a part of. You can't explain it until you're part of it, and when you are, I don't know how to explain it.
Well said. Jim, this has been a blast, and I look forward to the next time that we sit down together and taste your products as well.
We're doing that for sure, and
Cool.
then we're going to maybe do it upstairs.
Why
How
not?
about that?
Cheers.
Cheers. Thanks, Bob.
Thank you.